Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rahakodash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and salutations to the Akim who are tuning to these videos. In this video, I wanted to go over a few precepts and just speaking about how this current rulership, this current society is designed to afflict us. It's not our rest. Nothing in this society will be beneficial for us in the long run. This place is pretty much the place where we were sent here to serve our punishment. And of course, the scriptures speak about the blessings and the glory of the elect of Israel being delivered out of the land of the north, where they remember who they were and understand the predicament that they're in. Part of that is that when you realize these things, is that you don't want anything to do in this society. Now, of course, we have to deal with balance. We have to do things like go to work, pay bills, live like an actual life here in this society. As grievous as it sounds, getting the understanding of this truth and knowing that this place is Esau Edom's rulership, these are just things that you have to endure. But also just to continue to endure and to build upon. So having this understanding that the society is not it, we look for and seek a kingdom wherein righteousness dwell. So the first precept I wanted to read is in Micah 2:10. Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest, because it is polluted, it shall destroy you, even with a sore destruction. And so that's one of the things that when you come across this truth, you are now born again. You have been baptized by this word, and now you are basically put on a better path, the path of the straight and narrow. So I'll get that precept in a little bit, but I wanted to read this also because as we're now separating ourselves from the wicked of the society, and this also includes our family members, because our family members are still caught up in this wicked society. They still vote. They still go to church. They still eat pork chops. If it's not one thing, it's another. But in the scriptures, it does say when Yahweh Shai was preaching that the people were saying where his brother and sisters, his mom and whatever. But ultimately, Yahweh Shai went to his left and his right, those of the disciples and followers of him. He said, those are my brothers and sisters. So we really have a fellowship and a akim, a brotherhood amongst each other. And that's basically the way that we can buffer out all of this other wickedness, because we're basically like-minded. And because we believe in the same thing, where two or three are gathered, there I am in the spirit, in the midst. That's Yahweh Shai and the spirit that is around us. And that's why when we're with brothers, we fellowship, it's always going to be a spiritual thing. Even when we're just relaxing and probably watching something on TV, it's a spiritual interaction, because everybody in the society pretty much is set for slaughter. They're not going to make it. And you can very well see that none of these people are going to believe. Now, of course, we're going to have a lot of the followers coming in at the last hour, but that's when the Spirit is going to reveal itself upon them. Because when the Spirit is shown, people are going to be willing in the day of our power. So we do have that understanding. But in the sense of speaking against this wicked society, that's why we're vexed by this place. I'm going to read this in 2 Peter 2:7. And delivered just Lot, vexed with the filthy conversation of the wicked. And so understanding the story of Lot and his wife and his two daughters, they left Sodom and Gomorrah because that place was incredibly wicked. And we're basically in that same situation. The scriptures were pretty much written aforetime for our learning, so that we could see and understand what type of person we ought to be in all holy conversation and godliness, looking for and hastening the return of Yahweh Shai, because this place, like I mentioned, it's not it. This place is surely polluted, and it'll pollute you. And we want this society to collapse. We want Yahweh Shai to bring in the kingdom. We want the chip to be established so that we could see that our time of salvation is nearer than we believed. Because everything in the society, like just thinking about pollution, we can go on and on about that. How Esau Edom is basically just driving this world to extinction. If it wasn't for the times being moved quicker, there would be no flesh to save. But for the elect's sake, the times are moving quicker. So I'm going to read this also in Isaiah 30:3, just going into the various of our people who are basically still caught up in the society, even though that you should be well aware of how wicked this place is and should be understanding of what person you should be in these last days. But the wicked are going to continue in their wickedness. They're going to continue on in whatever they're caught up in until the day that Yahushua returns. And it ain't going to be good for them. So this is Isaiah 30:3. I'm going to read a little bit up. This is verse 1. It says, "Woe to the rebellious children, saith the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, that take counsel, but not of me." See, all these people, they take counsel from these pork chop eating pastors, from their elected officials, presidents, mayors, governors, whatever you call them. They basically look up to them for guidance, when really they should be looking to us, or at least a person who stands stiffly for Yahushai and his commandments. That's at least the right direction. But the majority of these people, as you can pretty much see, like when we're on the highways and hedges, one of the signs we have is a pie chart showing the 2/3, the 1/3, and how the rest of those people are pretty much just slated for destruction. But that's because these people do not take counsel of either Yahushai or the men that were sent down here through the Spirit. And that's mainly starting from the apostles of Great Millstone and the elders on down. We're like the only ones pretty much who have the understanding. We have the oil, but the rest of our people will continue in their pernicious ways, or whatever they're into, until the day that Yahushua returns. So I'm going to start from the top again. Is Isaiah 30:1. "Woe to the rebellious children, saith the Lord." And woe means destruction. And that's all that's what's going to happen, especially in these coming last days. For Jacob's trouble, those scourges are an amendment for the wicked, specifically geared towards the 2/3 of our people, because ultimately they've rejected this knowledge and they despised it. So that's why it's woe unto the rebellious children. So I'm going to continue on. It says, "Woe to the rebellious children, saith the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, that take counsel, but not of me, and that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin." And that's pretty much all that all these people are doing. You don't have to hear me say, you can pretty much just experience it, whether if it's a family member, friends, or co-workers. All these people are adding sin unto sin. Continuing on, it says, "That walk to go down into Egypt, and have not asked at my mouth to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh, and to trust in the shadow of Egypt." And the Most High is not at all in the thoughts of these people. And you can just tell by the conduct and the gait that they walked, their stature, everything, things that they eat. The Most High is not at all in their thoughts. And when it says that they walk down to Egypt to take counsel from them, they're basically accepting a different deity, a different power structure, as opposed to what's written in the scriptures. And modern day Egypt is America. Everybody, even people who don't live in America, are seeking after the customs of America. So continuing on, it says, "And to trust in the shadow of Egypt." So for all these people who are voting or doing whatever that this society wants them to do, this is what's going to happen. Verse 3, "Therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion." And it's going to be a lot of confusion in these last days, specifically during Jacob's trouble, because all of them are basically walking that broad gate. It's a broad gate, and at the end of that road is Egypt, pretty much. But the straight and narrow is something that's spiritual. You can't really see it, and it's only fit for a few people to walk on at the same time. That's representative of the elect, that only the elect are going to obtain this truth, and the rest were blinded. All right, so I'm going to continue on, but so I'm going to read this in Matthew 7:13. Enter ye in at the straight gate, for wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there be which go in thereat. And so that's basically a scripture. Like if you have feelings, or you feel bad about like your family members, like your mom's not going to make it or whatever, or she's an Edomite, those things are not spiritual things that you should be focused on. You have to focus on the mission and get your head out of whatever gutter it's in, and put your head on the game. This is the straight gate that you are now a partaker of, and you can't be 1 foot in the truth and 1 foot out of the truth. It's like a tightrope, how the Apostle Gabar explains it, and you really have to be focused on that. Your eye has to be single in this ministry for you to go from point A to point B on this straight gate. And it also just emphasizes that the rest of these people, it's broad and it leads to destruction. It's their confusion what they're basically going to. We'll continue on. This is verse 14. Because straight is the gate and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it. And that's representative of the elect. And we're doing this for life, immortality. We're not like these rest of these people who are just basically just going to church and giving the money and eating pork chop at the end of the day. We're doing this because we believe that we're going to get access to immortality. The rest of these people don't speak about those things. That's why it's only a few that have this truth. The rest were blinded. Here in this ministry, you actually get the actual breakdowns of the scriptures and what you should be looking for. And it's basically immortality, as opposed to whatever this society has to offer. And the last precept I want to read, and this is just going into how like this society is wicked, it's disgusting. Lot was vexed with the filthy conversation of the wicked. And so this is basically just a thing to let you know that this is basically the society that was designed that way. Esau Edom's rulership. It ain't going to be a cakewalk in this place, especially during Jacob's trouble, when Esau Edom is going to come down with wrath, with his sword, because he knows that he has but a short time. But just know and understand that the fact that this society is not for us, it's going to be against us. So I'm going to read this last precept. This is in Daniel 7:25. And going into the visions and the characters that were in those visions that Daniel was breaking down, this is kind of going into the Edomite rulership and how, like, specifically the Greek Empire were doing certain things. But it's the fact that this is the Edomites, it applies today still. So in Daniel 7:25, it says, "And he shall speak great words against the Most High." And all these people, like that one guy, Yuval Noah Harari, I think that's his name. He's the guy who's basically working at the World Economic Forum. He's speaking great things against the Most High. And you just Google that guy, or at least Google the World Economic Forum, to see what these guys are really about. There's a whole bunch of wickedness. So continuing on, it says, I'll read from the top again. It says, "And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until a time and times, and the dividing of times." So the earth is given to the hand of the wicked. So understand that. Know that this place is not for your rest, and that Esau Edom is pretty much gunning for you. But if you have faith in Yahweh Bashem Yahushai and you have fear for him, he will protect you. He will feed you in these last days. And how Esau Edom is wearing us out, the Heavenly Father will uplift us. The Spirit is renewed day by day. So even though we have to go to work, pay bills, deal with demonic family members or co-workers, however it is for whoever, what brother it goes with, like the situation plays out, but you have to understand that the scriptures will uplift you. You have to have this in your mindset and meditate on Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. But with that, I want to give all honor and praises to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Bahashem Ruach HaKodesh, and Shalom Akim.